Good morning, children. Next topic: why does a change of state occur? So here, these are the three states of the matter: solid, liquid, and gas. And we know that in the solid state, the particles are arranged in systematic order in the regular pattern. In the liquid state also, the particles are arranged systematically. And in the gaseous state, the particles are arranged in the irregular way. And here we know that solid has the rigid structure, liquid and gas having fluidity nature. And when the solid is heated, so in this condition, these molecules of solid absorb the kinetic energy. And due to the absorb the energy, and this is the kinetic energy, and due to the kinetic energy, these particles vibrate more. So here, if we heat the solid state, means we can say if we rise the temperature of solid state, so particles means molecules absorb kinetic energy, and due to the kinetic energy, these particles vibrate more. And due to the vibration, here these particles try to overcome the interparticle force of attraction. So these particles try to overcome the interparticle force of attraction. So in this way here, due to the kinetic energy, these particles vibrate more, and due to the vibration here, the interparticle attraction decreases. These particles vibrate more, and due to this interparticle force of attraction decreases, and between the particles space develop, and this is called the interparticle space. And due to this, the solid change to liquid state. So once again you can see here the solid state. If we rise the temperature of the solid state, these particles absorb kinetic energy, and due to the absorption of kinetic energy, these particles become very active, and these particles move more faster than previous. Means we can say these particles vibrate more, and due to the vibration, these particles try to overcome the interparticle force of attraction. And between the particles, interparticle space increases, and this solid change to liquid state. And again, further if we increase the temperature, of the liquid state, so here these particles absorb kinetic energy again, and movement here more, means the particles move more faster than the previous, and in this way the interparticle space increases more, and due to this the interparticle force of attraction decreases, and the liquid state changes to gaseous state. In the same manner, if we decrease the temperature, so what will happen? So if we decrease the temperature in the gaseous state, so if we decrease the temperature here, so in this case the kinetic energy decreases, and the movement of the particles slow down, and these particles interact with each other, because here the interparticle force of attraction increases. So in this gaseous state, that if we decrease the temperature, the kinetic energy decreases, and these particles slow down, and due to this these particles interact with each other, because here interparticle force of attraction increases. So this gas will change into the liquid state. And again, if we decrease the temperature, further decrease the temperature in the liquid state, so here kinetic energy decreases more, and in this way the particles interact, and the force of attraction increases. So that's why the liquid change to solid state. So here this is change of state of matter from solid to liquid, liquid to gas, means by rising the temperature, solid change to liquid, liquid change to gas, and by decreasing the temperature, so gas change to liquid, gas change to liquid, liquid change to solid. And next topic, law of conservation of mass. Law of conservation of mass. So here, according to the here law of conservation of mass, so mass will remain same in the three states of the matter. So here in the solid state, for example, if we take the 10 gram of the water and if we boil this, so this 10 gram of the water will change into the 10 gram of the steam. And in the same manner, if we freeze the liquid 10 gram of the water, so this will change into the 10 gram of the ice. So here mass will be same in the three states of the matter, solid, liquid and gas. And this is called the conservation of mass. Means no any change in mass in the three states of the matter, in the changing their states of the matter. So this is called the conservation of mass, and this theory put forward by the Antoine Lavoisier. This theory put forward by the Antoine Lavoisier, and he stated that mass can neither be created nor destroyed during the chemical reaction. So mass can neither be created nor destroyed during the chemical reaction, and this is called the law of conservation of mass. Means according to him that the total mass of the reactant must be equal to the total mass of the product. So in the chemical reaction, composition change. So here, but composition change of the particular substance, but here the total mass of the reactant must be equal to the total mass of the product. So according to the Antoine Lavoisier, that he stated that mass can neither be created nor destroyed during the chemical reaction. It means that total mass of the reactant must be equal to the total mass of the product. So here we can understand by one example. So total mass of the reactant must be equal to the total mass of the product. So in the chemical reaction, so suppose that if you take one reaction that magnesium react with the oxygen. So here we will get magnesium oxide. Magnesium oxide. So magnesium react with the oxygen, we will get the magnesium oxide. And if we see the magnesium mass, so we know that one atom of magnesium mass equal to the 24 AMU. So here means atomic mass unit. So 24, and here 2 magnesium, so 2 into 24 plus 1 oxygen atom mass 16 AMU. So here this is the molecule of oxygen, 2 atoms of oxygen present here. So in this way the total mass will be 2 into 16 is 32. So here we can see this is the 48 here plus 32. So here this is the reactant, and if we see the product, so here product 2 into magnesium 1 atom here. So magnesium mass 24 and oxygen 1 atom 16. So we will get here 2 into 40, and after this final answer will be 80. So here in the product we can see 80, and here also if we add the reactant, so here also we will get the 80. So we can say total mass of the reactant must be equal to the total mass of the product. So here reactant mass we are getting 80 and the product mass also we are getting the 80, means same. So total mass of the reactant must be equal to the total mass of the product. After this, in this reaction we can see here composition change, because the magnesium react with the oxygen, so we are getting magnesium oxide. This is the product. So here magnesium in the individual way, oxygen, this is the oxygen molecule here, but we are getting the compound here magnesium oxide. So here composition change, but if we see the total mass, if we compare the total mass of the reactant and product, then we will get the same. So according to the law of conservation of mass, that mass can neither be created nor destroyed during the chemical reaction. And after this, one activity here given. So activity 1, aim to verify the law of conservation of mass. So here activity 1 given, aim to verify the law of conservation of mass. So materials required: a conical flask, a cork, a measuring cylinder, these things. So materials required: a conical flask with a cork, a measuring cylinder, a test tube, a weighing balance, string, barium chloride solution, sodium sulfate solution. So these are the materials required. And after this procedure, take 10 ml of sodium sulfate solution in a conical flask. Then second step, take 10 ml of barium chloride solution in a test tube. Tie the test tube using a piece of string and suspend the test tube in the conical flask carefully so that the solution do not mix with each other. Then fourth, close the mouth of the flask with a cork so that the string holding the test tube is held firmly. Fifth, carefully weigh the conical flask with its contents on a weighing balance and record the reading. Sixth, now tilt the test tube so that the barium chloride solution mixed with the sodium sulfate solution. Let the reaction takes place. The reaction that takes place here. And 7, after the white precipitate settle down at the bottom of the flask, weigh the conical flask again. Then compare the masses of the conical flask before and after the chemical reaction. So here, this is the conical flask. And in this conical flask, we will take the sodium sulfate solution. So amount of the sodium sulfate solution here 10 ml. So in this conical flask, we will take the 10 ml sodium sulfate solution, Na2SO4. And in this, we have to hang one test tube with the help of the string. And in this test tube, we have to take the 10 ml of the barium chloride solution in the test tube. Barium chloride solution. And after this, here one cork, and here in the test tube 10 ml of the barium chloride solution, and in the conical flask 10 ml of the sodium sulfate solution. And after this, we have to weigh this, we have to take weight of this total system, and next we have to tilt this. So by tilting the barium chloride solution that present in the test tube mixed with the sodium sulfate, by tilting the barium chloride solution come from the test tube and this mixed with the sodium sulfate solution. So here by tilting the barium chloride solution come from the test tube, this mixed with the sodium sulfate that present in the conical flask. So here the reaction happen that barium chloride, sodium sulfate, then we will get what? Barium sulfate. We will get barium sulfate and NaCl. So this BaSO4, this is the precipitate. Precipitate means insoluble solid material, and this precipitate of white color. So this is the precipitate means insoluble solid material we will get after the reaction. When the barium chloride, this is in liquid form, sodium sulfate solution, this is also in the liquid form, barium chloride liquid solution, this also liquid solution, react with each other, and after this we will get the BaSO4 and sodium chloride. BaSO4 we will get the insoluble solid material, this is the precipitate, and the color of this white. So this will settle down, and after the reaction again we will reweigh of the whole system. Then we will observe that mass not change, means mass remains same. Before the reaction and after the reaction will remain same. No any change in the mass. So here by this experiment we can confirm the law of conservation of mass. So according to the law of conservation of mass, mass can neither be created nor destroyed during the chemical reaction. So in this experiment we can observe this, and here in the test tube we have taken barium chloride solution in the test tube, 10 ml of the barium chloride, in the conical flask 10 ml of the sodium sulfate solution. Then full system will be weight of this. We will take the weight of the particular system. Then after this we will tilt this. So by tilting, the barium chloride solution come from the test tube and this mixed by the sodium sulfate solution, and the reaction takes place, and due to the reaction we will get the BaSO4, this is the solid insoluble material, this settle down, and after the reaction if we will reweigh again of the whole system, then we will observe that no any change in the mass, means no any change in the mass before the reaction and after the reaction. Mass will remain same, no any change in it. So this is in accordance with the law of conservation of mass. So here observation, it is observed that the mass of the conical flask along with its content remain unchanged after the chemical reaction. So the experiment proves that there is no change in the mass during a chemical reaction. Does the activity verify the law of conservation of mass? So this chapter completed. Thank you. Have a nice day.